Alrighty. Good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are. For those of you that don't know me already, my name is Sierra St. Arnold. Today, I'm going to be going over RoomRez, kind of like a walkthrough, everything. Well, I won't say everything there is to know about RoomRez because I don't know everything, but I know a lot of people struggle with it because they don't quite understand how it works, so they just don't use it. And I was the same way when I first started. So I'm just going to kind of run through how it works, how commission works, all of that good stuff, what they'll send you when you do book with them, and all of that good stuff. So let me share my screen and let me make sure I got all this right. So if you haven't registered, oh, is somebody saying something? Okay. If you haven't registered with RoomRez already, you can do so through Travel Cafe. All of the directions are in there. So obviously go ahead and do that. I'm pretty sure that is an instant access vendor. But if not, they will send you an email with everything that you need. So once you log in, it's going to look like this. They do not offer packages or flights or anything like that. Everything that they offer is across the top here. So hotels, transfers, attractions, and car rentals. Commission is built into all of these. So there is no like instant commission or anything like that. It's already built in. And as of right now, it is 11% for everything unless otherwise specified, which I am going to show you guys kind of how to tell the difference. So just to kind of show you guys how it works, because I know sometimes it will show, especially when you do hotels, it'll show two different prices. So I want to kind of explain the difference between those. So I'm just going to type in like a random place. So we're going to do Key West, and I'm just going to go like a couple months out just for availability purposes and all of that stuff. So you'll type in whatever location you want, the dates, how many people, all of that stuff, just like you would in any other vendor. And then it's going to pull up everything that they have in their inventory. So another thing to know about RoomRez is that they do not offer payment plans. You do have to pay everything in full when you book. So that's another thing. If you have people that are wanting payment plans, this may not be the best option, but it is always a good option if you want to try to find something a little bit cheaper. So as you guys can see, there are two different prices that show up for every single different hotel for as much as far as I know, every single hotel. Sometimes they will show up the same price. So the Archer special rate and the online price are the same, and that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. Pretty much at that point, you can just figure out which one's going to pay you better commission. But just to kind of show you guys how this works, I'm going to use this example right here. So as you guys can see, the Archer special rate is $555 a night on average, and then the online price is $627 a night. So what that means is that your client is going to find this $627 is probably the cheapest that they're going to find it, but because we're with Archer and we have that good relationship with RoomRez, we do get some of those discounted rates. So obviously, if you see that this is a cheaper price, you're just going to click Archer special rate, and then it's going to pull up all of the inventory that they have, the different rooms, the different types of whether it's free cancellation or non-refundable, all of that good stuff. And when you click on it, it's going to give you a couple pictures. It's going to give you some information about the hotel, what they have. A lot of times it's going to give you this information over here about how far it is from a lot of attractions that people are probably interested in that area, which is very, very helpful, especially if you have clients that are really interested in doing one specific thing. And then once you scroll down past that, it's going to give you, like I said, all the different room types that they have. The one thing I will say is that sometimes the name of the room may not match what you find on their website, or it may not give you a ton of information. So you may have to call RoomRez and ask, but their customer service is fantastic. I have never, ever had an issue with them. So don't hesitate to reach out to them. So they have changed the way that this looks a little bit since I first started using RoomRez. Personally, I kind of like this better. So as you guys can see, there are two different columns right here. One says non-refundable and one says flexible cancellation. So if you hover over this little information bubble, it'll tell you if you cancel this booking from now until whatever date, then the cancellation is free, or that they're going to be charged X amount of money or whatever. The one thing that you need to know is this date right here goes day, month, year. It's not like a normal month, day, year. So this is actually until September 7th, not July 9th. So just make sure that you know that. whenever you are booking and giving your clients those free cancellation dates and things like that. And so that you know for yourself, they are day, month, year, kind of like they are like how they do dates in Mexico and things like that. So it's not the standard format of like the US dates. So just be aware of that. All of these are pretty self-explanatory, one king bed, ocean view, all of that stuff. And then over here, you'll also see the type of board it is. So if it's just the room only, then that's pretty self-explanatory. It's the room only. Some of them have a higher rate if you want to include the free breakfast, because that breakfast is not included in the regular rate, and you just have to add it for whatever trip they're going on or whatever. So sometimes they have non-refundable and free cancellation options. Sometimes they only have one or the other. So you really just kind of have to look through and see what is available and what your clients want and things like that. So I'm just going to pick a random room just for the sake of this. So I'm going to do this one right here, which is the free breakfast, one king bed, ocean view. And this one is free cancellation until September 5th. They can cancel and they will get all of their money back. There is no travel insurance or anything like that in RoomRez. It's just free cancellation or not free cancellation, but it just gets refunded back to whatever card they used to pay. So once you click book, it's going to take you to a pretty typical booking screen. It's going to ask for the name of the lead guest as it appears on the ID that they will check in with. So please make sure when you are booking this that you have a copy of your client's ID so you can put it in exactly as it is. And then it asks for their mobile number. It's going to ask for the guest contact mobile number. Make sure you actually do put your client's number in on there, especially when you're doing transfers and things like that. I learned that the hard way. I booked a transfer and I put my phone number in because that's what I do for pretty much all my other bookings. And then they needed something and I had to kind of be that middleman. And it just took a lot longer than it needed to. So they do keep up with your contact information already because it's in your profile, but you do need to make sure that this is your guest's phone number, or whatever it's asking for. This is, sometimes it will show this package rate thing, sometimes it will not. Is it possible to modify the name on a booking? Yes, you should be able to, as long as you're within that cancellation period. You'll just need to email or call them. Sometimes it may not matter if you're within the cancellation period, but just to rather be safe than sorry, I would make sure that you do it within that time. But usually it's a super easy fix. Like I said, you can just call RoomRez or email them and they will get it fixed for you. Again, this is going to show you the cancellation policy. Same thing with the dates. It's September 5th, not May 9th, because obviously that doesn't make sense. We are past that already. So just keep that in mind, and it'll give you the amounts that they will still be charged if they cancel after a certain date or whatever the case may be. So once you get down here, over on the right hand side, it's going to show you everything that you have input. It's going to give you the name of where they're staying, the address, what the room is, check in, check out, how many people. It's going to give you the rate for each specific night that they are there, the taxes that they are charging, and then it's going to give you this total. Down here, it says pay at hotel, which is one of my favorite features of RoomRez. Is if there is a property that has a resort fee that they know about, they do include that right here. So this is what they are going to have to pay when they get there as a resort fee. This is not included in their total. There is no way to pay that ahead of time. They have to pay it when they get there. So this is really nice. You don't have to do the math yourself or anything like that. It's just automatically right there. And then if there's any other information or anything like that that they need to know, that's all going to be here. Check-in, check-out time, minimum guest age for check-in, all of that stuff. So down here, you'll see that it shows they have to pay $50.63 per accommodation per night. That's what that resort fee up there is. So it's not additional. They've already done that math for you. You don't have to worry about it, which is really nice. So anything that you could possibly need to know, this breakfast fee, you don't need to worry about that in this particular instance because I chose the one that has the breakfast included. If you have people that say they may not eat breakfast every single day or something like that, then you can let them know, hey, this is about the amount that it's going to be. I will say this little blurb right here where it says the above list may not be comprehensive, fees and deposits may not include tax and are subject to change. This is the same as when you are sending quotes for a vacation package. You always want to let them know, this is the information I have been given currently, but this information may change by the time you get there. So you just need to be aware of that. And then they're also going to have all kinds of information over here as well, as far as, you know, just other things to know about the property, about where they're going, everything like that, all their policies, all of that good stuff, right? And some of this looks like it's duplicate information. So obviously read through that and make sure that you are giving your client all of this information. That way there are no surprises and they can't come to you and say, oh, well, you didn't tell me that, because it's all right here. So this total right here is a little over $4,000. So this total, including the taxes and fees, is what you are going to calculate your commission based off of. So when you book a hotel direct or something like that, usually the commission is before taxes and any kind of fees or anything like that. The one thing about RoomRes is that they pay commission on the entire total. So you would take 11% of this $4,230.66. So just for easy math purposes, I'm going to do it on my phone. So 11% of that is $465.37. And then obviously you would, you know, take out the 20%, and that's how much you will receive yourself. So a little over $400 in commission before, you know, your cuts and everything like that. So that is how you figure that out. It's not going to tell you like a commission line. You just have to know that it's 11%. You will have to calculate that yourself. The one thing over here, you do have a couple different options. Obviously, you can pay for it now, you can hold and pay later, or you can create an itinerary. I'll be honest, I don't usually create an itinerary in this because I personally use TravelJoy, so I don't know a lot about that. I'm not going to touch on that because I don't want to give any kind of false information. But if you are ready for your client to pay now, then obviously what you're going to do is you're going to add a new card. You're going to enter their information. So usually it doesn't ask for a billing address or anything like that. It usually just asks for the card information and their name. And then you'll place the order. Once you do that, you're going to receive an email. So once you have completed the booking, you're going to get an email that looks something like this. This one is a little bit different just because this was for an airport transfer, not for a hotel, but all the ones I have for hotels have not passed yet, and I don't want to have that information on the recording. So this is old information. Once you get this, your confirmation number that you use for the commission tracking form is going to be this reference number right here, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. Don't quote me on that. Sometimes it will say like booking ID or something like that. So you can always call again and ask which one you need to put in, but I believe you put in the reference number. And this is going to have all the information about everything that you just booked. So it, like, for example, on this one, as I mentioned, this is a transfer, which I'll show you guys how to do that. This has all the information about how many people, where they're going, when they're getting picked up, everything like that. It's also going to give information about where to find their driver. If this was a hotel booking, it's going to give all that same information that shows on this screen. So all these check-in instructions, all of the different fees, the know before you go, all of that is going to show up on your voucher. You need to make sure that you send this to your client. This is their confirmation. So especially when you're booking transfers or car rentals or something like that, they have to show this voucher in order to get into the transfer or whatever the case may be. When I first did this transfer, it only showed 6 passengers instead of 7, and there was a huge issue with that. So it wasn't because I input it wrong, they just printed it wrong on the voucher. So always double check the information that you have on your voucher to make sure that it matches all the information that you have and that it needs to have for your transfer, because they were like, well, this only says 6, we can't just bring extra people, it's a safety thing. So I had to call and deal with all of that. So just make sure that you are double checking all this information, especially the flight numbers and things like that. They also use military time, not a 12-hour clock. So be aware of that. If you have somebody that is doing a transfer in the afternoon and say they need to be picked up at 3 p.m., that you need to put that as 1500, basically 15 o'clock. So just be aware of that. I did not realize that at one point, and I had put it in as their departure was at 2 o'clock. But I had put it in as 2 a.m. So they were coming to pick them up like the night before at like 11 p.m. And she was like, that doesn't look right. And I was like, you're correct. I did not realize that they did military time. So that is another thing to note. So the dates, like I said, are day, month, year, and then the time is in military time. So just make sure that you make those adjustments if you need to. And then the other thing, like I said, you want to make sure that you put in their phone number. On this one, I didn't, and this is what I was telling you guys. there were some issues and they were calling me, and it was just making it a lot more difficult because they were trying to get in their transfer to get to the airport and not miss their flight. And I was having to go back and forth with everybody. If I would have just put in her phone number, then they could have just contacted her directly. So just be aware of that. Like I said, I always put in their phone number. I still put in my email address, but it does have all of, your agent information and stuff like that down here as well. So this is kind of, like I said, this is the voucher that they're going to send you once you have paid and everything is confirmed. If you want to put it on hold to make sure that you don't lose the room while you are waiting for your clients to make a decision, then they do have this hold and pay later option sometimes. So this is not available for every single thing, especially if you are booking a non-refundable rate, or if you are booking something within like a very close time period. They don't have this hold and pay later option. And when you try to hold it, it will tell you, hey, we can't hold this booking. You have to pay for it now. So this will hold it for 7 days, which is kind of a long time. Basically, this is kind of like when you do it in Vax, it'll, you don't have to put in really a whole lot of information other than their first and last name and their phone number, which is really nice. You don't put in any card information or anything like that, and it will hold this room for them or whatever the case may be at this price for 7 days. And then you can go back in and pay for it later within those 7 days if you want to, which is a really nice option. So even though they do have to pay it in full, they can wait, that 7 days to get their money together or whatever the case may be. And once you hold the booking, they'll also send you an email to be like, hey, this is on hold, just so you don't forget and you can keep up with the itinerary number. So that is kind of how the Archer special rate works. I want to show you guys how it works when you do the online rate, because it is a little bit different. So we're going to use this same one, even though this is more expensive. I just want to use it to show you guys because it's the same hotel and so you guys can see the difference. So as you guys can see on this online price, it shows a commission amount right here. And you're probably thinking, I'm only going to get paid $35.79. That is ridiculous. Why would I do that? But this commission amount that it shows is per night, and it will actually give you the total amount at the end. So that's why I want to show it to you guys. So if you click book online rate, if for whatever reason that online rate is cheaper than the Archer rate, it should give you the same options as before. So just pick which one you want. Obviously, they may not be the exact same options, but pretty close. And they may be a little bit different because this is a different rate than what is available. So sometimes we have exclusive inventory than what they may have online. So just for purposes of showing you guys, I'm just going to do this one king bed view, free breakfast, and it does have a cancellation policy. So it's not a non-refundable rate. So same thing, it's going to show up exactly the same. It's going to give all the same information over here. And this is not quite the exact same room as what I had before, which is why it's cheaper, but it's going to show you obviously the nightly rate, all the fees and everything like that. It's going to show you the resort fee again, and then your commission down here is going to be tallied up for you. So you're not going to receive 11% of this. You're going to receive whatever this amount is. Obviously, you're going to get 80% of that. So obviously you can see that this commission is a lot lower. Obviously the total price is a little bit lower too. So that's part of it. But the commission when you do the online rate is typically not nearly as good as when you do the Archer rate. So just be aware of that. And same thing applies over here. You can either pay and confirm now, you can hold and pay later. All of that stuff is the same. The only difference is that if you do the online rate, it will show you your total commission. When you do the Archer special rate, you're going to have to calculate it yourself. Everything else is exactly the same. The other thing with RoomRez is every time you book, they are going to give you points, and those points basically turn into money that you can either use on your own bookings through RoomRez. If you want to give your client like a $10 discount or something like that, you can use those points to this balance. So I do that a lot when I travel. I always book my transfers through RoomRez just because, one, I find them to be a lot cheaper, and two, I can use the points that I have earned and get it, even cheaper than I already am, which is really nice. So if you are booking this for yourself, or if you want to give your clients an additional discount, whether that's, just a couple dollars, depending on how much you have, all of that good stuff, you'll just click this little button right here, and then you'll be able to enter how much you want to redeem. And it keeps a running tally up here as well of how much you have to spend. So obviously the more you book, the more you're going to earn. Mine is pretty low right now because I just used mine when I went to Mexico, but you can earn extra money to take off, like I said, for your own bookings or for your clients, which is really cool. So that is another little perk of them. Roomras does kind of have the option to filter some things out. It's not quite as extensive as, you know, maybe other vendors and things like that. But if you know that they're interested in certain areas or that they want certain types of amenities or things like that, then you can filter those out over here as well. And you can also obviously filter out by how many stars they are, how the price, all of that good stuff. You can also look at it on a map. So if you know that you want a place that is beachfront, that it's on the ocean or something like that, in particular for this one, you can use the map. Obviously, you guys can probably figure out how to do that, but you can zoom in and look at certain areas and kind of see what it's close to, how far away it is from the water and all of that stuff. So that way you don't have to like pull up another map to look at it because it's already right here. Alrighty, so that is how the hotels work. Like I said, 99% of the time they're going to have those two different rates. The Archer special rate, again, you need to calculate your own commission. It is 11% of the total. The resort fee is not included in that. The online booking rate is going to show you what your commission is. So it's just that, and then obviously you get 80% of it. So just know all of those things. So moving on to transfers, I know a lot of us use Vax and things like that that have round trip transfers. Roomras does not offer round trip, so you're going to have to book two separate transfers, one from the airport to the resort or the hotel or whatever, and then you're also going to have to book one from the resort back to the airport. So it's going to be two different transactions, but it is doable. So obviously pickup location, I'm just going to do Cancun because that's easy. Hopefully this will come up. Okay, there we go. And then I'm just going to use Live Aqua because that is my favorite place in the whole world. And it's going to pull up a couple different options. So make sure that you are choosing the right one. So Live Aqua Beach Resort in Cancun, your arrival date. Let's just say I'm going for my birthday, August 20th. And then, as I mentioned, they use military time. So this is why it goes all the way to 23. And they do not do like the exact time. They do it, I think, by 5-minute increments. Yeah. So let's just say my flight gets in at 10:15 a.m. or 10:14 a.m. You'll just round it up to 10:15. And then we have 2 adults. When you search transfers, this is where the 2 different prices is going to go away. So this is just going to be the price that you get. So there are going to be several different options, and obviously they are all going to cost different things. So if your clients or you for that matter are okay with a shared transfer, then you can just do this one. It's only $7.45 a person. I will tell you guys, I booked this for my husband when he came to Mexico to meet me. I was like, you can just take the cheap one. It was like $8. And he still ended up being in a private transfer. Did he get lucky? And that's just very rare occasion. I don't know, but just, you know, that is a possibility that they may be in a private transfer, but they also may be in a shared transfer. So just be aware of that. And then obviously it goes up from here. So it'll tell you how many people it can hold, about how long it's going to take, things like that. And then obviously your total right here. The one thing I will say about this, again, you do have to pay for everything in full at one time. So if you have a group of, let's say, 4 people going and they each want to pay for their own portion, then they're just going to have to work that out between themselves and put it all on one person's card. So when you go to book, you don't have the option to put in multiple card information. You just have to do one. So they'll have to figure that out between themselves. But once you go to book it, again, you're going to need first and last name as it appears on their ID or their passport if they're traveling outside of the country, because that is what they are going to compare it to. Then you're going to put in their flight information. If their flight information changes between now and the time that they are getting that transfer, you are going to need to reach out and let Roomras know that so that they can update the voucher and so that they can update the transfer company. Because if they were supposed to get here at 11:40 a.m. and now they're not going to get here until 3 in the afternoon, their transfer is not going to wait for them that long. So you need to make sure that you keep up to date on that and update it if it does change. And it's going to ask for their flight number. And this, when you enter the flight number, you need to include the airline code. So if it's American Airlines, you need to put the AA. If it's Delta, you need to put the DL, not just the actual number itself, because that doesn't help them narrow it down. And then obviously where they're coming from and all of that stuff. It's already going to have the address and the name of where they are going filled out because you've already selected that. And then you're going to see the free cancellation right here. This one actually shows the month in the middle, like spelled out. So, and it'll also give you a time. So 10:15 on August 16th is when they would have this from. Again, it's just going to give you a total right here. You're going to receive 11%. The commission is 11% of that. And then obviously you get your 80%. So these don't show you your commission amount. You just have to know you have to calculate 11%. Same thing with this. You can hold and pay later if you want to. Usually, again, it's 7 days, or once you hold it, then you can just go back in and make the payment. Either way. But like I said, you can only use one card to make this payment. So if they want to split it up, they're going to need to do that kind of on their own terms. So let's just say I booked this. So, okay, cool. They have their ride from the airport to the resort, but now they need their ride from the resort to the airport. So we're going to go back. We're going to modify this search and we are going to change it around. So pretty self-explanatory, I feel like, but I'm going to show you guys just in case, and it's not going to show me because it's in there. All right. So make sure you clear all that stuff out. Live Aqua to Cancun Airport. And then let's say they're going home, oh gosh, on the 24th. This arrival time, again, this needs to be what time their flight is leaving. So let's say that I have an afternoon flight at 3:25. Most of this is probably going to be the same price. So as it was for them to get from the airport to the resort, because it's the same exact thing. It may vary a little bit, but these look to be exactly the same. So same thing, you would just figure out which kind they want, go through all of that. And then once you get your voucher for their departure transfer, it's going to have a pickup time on it. So let me see if I can show you on this one. Let's see. Yeah. So this is their departure transfer. So right here, it shows pickup time. So this is the one that I did wrong. So I had that their departure time was 2:05 and I thought that it was PM. So this is showing that it's picking them up the night before. Obviously once I updated that, it changed it to have the right times. Their flight was at 2:05 PM. They were coming to get them at like 11 AM. So they updated this to the right date and the right time. But your pickup time will be on here. Sometimes there will be a spot on here that says that you need to call and reconfirm that time. So just make yourself aware of that. If it does require you to call in and reconfirm that that time is correct and that nothing has changed and all of that good stuff, then you can do that. I would set yourself a reminder on your calendar, something like that. So I had to do that with these people. And usually it's 24 hours before their actual pickup. So just be aware of that. Like I said, they sent that to me in an email that, hey, you need to reconfirm these, and Roomrez sent that to me. So just be on the lookout for those types of emails. But that is how transfers work. That is typically what I use Roomrez for the most, is transfers and like last minute hotels. And when I say last minute, I don't necessarily mean like they need something tomorrow, because a lot of times, let's just see if I can find one in Charlotte because that's close to me. A lot of times it won't let you do something if it's too close. So we'll just do something for next week and see if anything comes up. Sometimes it will, sometimes it won't. Yeah, so it'll say we don't have availability for your room requirements for those dates. And the reason for that is because it's too close. So make sure that you're not trying to use this for like very last minute stuff, because usually it won't pull anything up, just because they don't have enough time to communicate all of that with the hotel or whatever the case may be. Same thing for attractions, kind of like any other site that we use. Just like I said, like with Viator or whatever the case may be, you will just type in where you're going, the dates, how many people, all of that. They may not have as many options as other people, but you can filter them out over here on the left hand side. About how long you want them to take, what you want them to be related to, all of that stuff. And hopefully this will load. There we go. And it'll give you lots and lots of different options. A lot of these are also on Viator, but the difference is Viator only pays 10% and Roomrez pays 11%. So if it's the same price and things like that, then I would book it in RoomRez if they're okay with paying for it up front. I know Viator has that reserve now, pay later option and stuff like that. So if they're okay with paying for it now, this may be a better option as far as your commissions go. Let's see. Do the transfer companies consider getting the client to the airport a few hours early, or do you need to include the time that the clients need to get to the airport? No, so the transfer companies do all of that within their pickup time. So like the one I just showed, their flight was at 2 p.m. And they were staying like very close to the airport. So them being picked up at 11 a.m. was plenty of time. So that gives them about 3 hours. I think they picked them up at 11 a.m. It was like 10 or 11, but it gave them about 3 hours to get to the airport and all of that stuff. Obviously, with Cancun specifically, they have a lot of construction and stuff like that going on right now. The transfer companies take all of that into consideration, so you don't have to really worry about that. If you get one and you're like, that doesn't seem like that's enough time, then you can always call and have them pick them up sooner, or pick them up earlier. But for the most part, they kind of have it figured out. That's why I always say, make sure you keep up to date with that, and make sure you call and reconfirm, the day before to make sure, hey, is this still the time that you guys are planning to come pick up my clients? Because if not, I need to let them know. But yeah, for the most part, they consider kind of all of those things about getting them there early and everything like that. So that's usually not an issue. So yeah, like I said, with the activities, you just click on whatever it is that you're wanting to do, and it will pull up the different options. You can select how many people. And with this one, there are a couple different options. So like I said, you just pick which one you want. Same thing as before, you just put in their information, pay for it now. Usually, sometimes you can hold it for 7 days. It really just kind of depends on the activity and things like that. And then the last thing is car rentals. So again, pretty self-explanatory, pickup, location, all of that stuff. So I'm just going to say Key West because that's what I was doing earlier. Key West. And then we're going to drop it off at the same place. I'm just going to pick some random dates. Your pickup time, again, this is military time, so make sure if they are flying in that you pay attention to that. If they are flying in and they get in at 10 a.m., you probably want to give them, a little bit of time to get all their stuff and all of that. So I usually do, since it's a domestic flight, I usually do like 30 minutes. If they get there a little early, it's usually fine. And then same thing for drop off time. If their flight is at 3 p.m., you're going to want to have them turning the car in a little bit before that. So we'll just say they turn it in at 2 p.m. For this example. You do have to enter the age of the lead driver, and this needs to be their age when they travel, just like with everything else. When you get to the final screen and it asks for their birthday, they do not play about this. It needs to be correct. So if you put 33, but they're actually going to be 34, it's not going to let you process the reservation. So I'm just going to use mine, for example, because I'm going to use my husband's because he'll be 27 and it won't charge extra fees. Once you hit search, obviously it's going to bring up all the different car types, different companies, things like that. And it's going to give you some more information about how many doors it has. So this is only a 2-door car. If you have 4 people going and they each want to be able to have, their own door, then make sure you're paying attention to that. You can filter stuff out again over here on the left-hand side. When you go to look at the more information, it's going to pull up a page. Sometimes it gives a lot, sometimes not so much. But for the most part, it'll give you a full PDF of what is included, what's extra, everything like that. So if you want to send this to your client, you can. Totally up to you. And then the other important thing is the security deposit for the car. So when they pick up the car, how much are they going to have to, have pending on their card for a security deposit? This, again, I always tell them this is an estimated amount, but this is what they should plan for. It may change though. So this one is $500. So if you have people that are like, well, we don't want to have to worry about paying that much, like we want like 200 or 250 or something like that, then you can go through and look at all of these. Again, that's not a guaranteed thing, but it is always a possibility and all of that good stuff. So I'm just going to pick the first one because for purposes of showing this. Once you click book now, it's going to give you the option to add car seats. So if you have clients that don't want to bring their own and they just would rather pay to use somebody else's, then you can add those here. If not, then you can just continue on, obviously. Especially if you don't have any kids, then you don't need to worry about that. This automatically filled in a birth date. So this is what it's showing you, that they have to have a birthday of at least this date in order to reserve this. So you'll fill out all of their information. This, you do need to have their address, like their address that's on their ID or whatever the case may be. This contact info, again, I put my client's contact info in case of emergency, in case something goes wrong. That way they can just reach out to them directly and we don't have to do a whole lot of back and forth. That's not typical for me on other bookings, but with RoomRez, that is how I kind of do it, because they already have my information. If they need something from me, they already have that. So again, it's going to give you the total rental price. This does not have the deposit amount included, obviously, but you are going to, your commission is going to be 11% of this. Again, you can hold now and pay later, and then go right back in and pay for the booking if you want to, or you can wait those 7 days. Same thing, it has the cancellation policy and all of that stuff. So that is pretty much how everything works. Once you have actually booked stuff in RoomRez, if you need to go back to it, you can go to reservations and sales reports. This is going to show you everything that you have ever booked in here. And you can see all kinds of information about it. If your clients have lost their voucher, or you have misplaced the email that it came in or something like that, you can always open PDF right there and it'll pull up the voucher again. You can just save it to your computer and then send it to them. So hopefully this will load so I can show you guys what it looks like. Yeah, so again, this is just a airport transfer example, but this had all of the information, all of the flight, you know, arrival time, all of that good stuff, where they were going. And it'll give you the reconfirmation number right here. Sometimes this does not work, and the reason that I say that is because you guys should know this by now. The confirmation number that we get as agents, especially when not booking directly, is typically not the same reservation number as what the company has. So like, this is our confirmation number with RoomRez. This is not the confirmation number with the transfer company. So just make sure you are aware of that. So if they're like, well, we can't find that reservation number, that's why, because it's not the same. So you'll most likely, if you are calling, you'll just have to give them the traveler's information and everything like that, and then they're able to pull it up that way. As I mentioned, it'll give them instructions on how to find their driver and everything like that. If they have any issues, then it'll tell them what to do right here. So all of that is on there. And then, like I said, if you need to save it and send it to your clients, you can do this little print option, but it'll save it as a PDF, and then you can just send it back over. So all of those will show in here. And again, that's under reservation and sales reports. If you decide to hold a booking and then you want to go back and pay for it, if you have them, they will show up here under the held bookings. That, again, pretty self-explanatory. It'll show up here. You can just click on it and then you can go pay for it. All of the contact us stuff, like I said, I don't really use the itineraries or the quotes in here, so I don't 100% know how those work, just because I use TravelJoy, so I'm not going to really touch on those. But the contact us tab has pretty much anything you could ever possibly need to know of how to get in touch with them. I always email them for the most part, and they have always gotten back to me within a day. Like, if it takes a day, that's honestly pretty long for them. Usually they respond in a couple of hours, which is really nice. And then your rewards, like I said, you do earn rewards with every booking that you make. So as you guys can see, I have some pending rewards. They show up in your account once the travel has been completed. So a lot of these, like this one right here, I don't have this yet because they have not traveled. They are traveling in July. So this will show you everything that you have earned and all of that good stuff. And then you can, again, use those for your own bookings or to take money off of your clients' bookings or something like that, as long as you have the money in there to do so. So as you guys can see, I've earned a little bit of money, but I have also used quite a bit of it as well. So, so that is pretty much like a RoomRez overview. Does anybody have any questions or need me to go back over anything? I know the biggest confusion is usually the Archer rate versus the online rate, and people are like, I don't get what the difference is. I don't understand what the commission, how that works and stuff like that. So that was kind of the biggest thing I wanted to talk about. Because I know when I first started, that was one of the issues I was having, and I was like, I don't understand this. I'm just not going to use it. And now that I understand it, I use it a lot more. So, especially if I'm just booking a hotel or something like that, if I don't need like a full package, because again, they don't do flights or insurance or any of that. So, just be aware of that if you are looking through the different vendors. All right. Anybody have questions? I'm going to go ahead and stop this recording.